The threshold between worlds. Welcome. Close your eyes for just a moment. Breathe deeply. Right now, as you listen to these words, your mind is awake and aware. But tonight, when you close your eyes to sleep, something extraordinary will happen. Your brain will create an entire universe. You will walk through landscapes that have never existed. You will speak with people who exist only in your mind. You will experience emotions so vivid, so real, that upon waking, you might question which experience was genuine. This is not fantasy. This is not imagination run wild. This is the natural power of your sleeping mind, a power that exists within you right now, waiting to be awakened. Have you ever wondered why some people can walk through walls while dreaming, yet feel no fear? Why some can fly through clouds, control the weather, or reshape their entire reality with nothing but thought? These are not superhuman abilities. These are expressions of lucid dreaming, a state of consciousness where you become aware that you are dreaming while the dream continues around you. And the most remarkable truth is this: you already possess everything you need to achieve this state. Your brain is already capable. Your mind already knows how to do this. You simply need to learn the language your sleeping mind speaks. For centuries, lucid dreaming existed in the realm of mysticism and philosophy. Ancient texts from Tibet, India, and China described practices that allowed consciousness to remain aware during sleep. But in recent decades, something extraordinary happened. Science caught up with ancient wisdom. Researchers in sleep laboratories began measuring brain activity, tracking eye movements, monitoring neural patterns, and what they discovered was astonishing. Lucid dreaming is not a myth. It is not a trick of memory or imagination. It is a measurable, reproducible state of consciousness with specific neurological signatures that distinguish it from both waking and ordinary dreaming. Before we begin this journey together, I invite you to subscribe to the Relaxing Science channel. Give this video a like and share in the comments where you are listening from and what time it is there. Your presence matters, your curiosity matters, and your willingness to explore the hidden dimensions of your own mind is the first step toward mastering the night. The promise of this exploration is simple yet profound. By the time we finish, you will understand how your brain creates dreams. You will learn to recognize the subtle signs that tell you that you are dreaming. You will discover multiple techniques, each backed by scientific research, that allow you to achieve lucidity. You will learn how to stabilize your lucid dreams, how to navigate them with intention, and how to use them for exploration, creativity, and self-discovery. But more than this, you will begin to understand what lucid dreaming reveals about consciousness itself, about the nature of reality, and about the vast potential of your own mind. This is not a quick fix. This is not a magic pill that works tonight. Lucid dreaming develops gradually, through gentle practice and patient observation. Some people experience lucidity within days, others take weeks or months, but every single person who practices with consistency will eventually achieve lucidity. Your brain is already equipped with this capacity. You are not trying to develop something new. You are simply awakening something that already exists within you. Throughout this experience, we will move slowly and deliberately. We will start by understanding the architecture of sleep itself, how your brain shifts between different states of consciousness. We will explore the science of lucidity, revealing what happens in your brain when you become aware within a dream. We will then move into practical techniques, each one designed to increase your likelihood of achieving lucidity. And finally, we will explore what you can do once you have entered this state, how to stabilize it, how to use it, and what it means for your understanding of consciousness and reality itself. The journey from ordinary dreaming to lucid dreaming is not a leap. It is a gradual awakening. It is like the difference between watching a movie and directing it. In ordinary dreams, you are the audience, passively experiencing whatever your mind creates. In lucid dreams, you are the director, the scriptwriter, the lead actor, and the set designer all at once. You are not creating this reality from nothing. The dream landscape already exists, generated by your brain. But now you are conscious within it. Now you can choose where to go, what to do, and how to interact with this inner universe. The beauty of lucid dreaming lies not just in the ability to fly or to reshape reality according to your wishes. The deeper beauty lies in what it teaches you about your own mind. When you become lucid in a dream, you discover something that philosophers have debated for centuries: the nature of consciousness itself. You discover that awareness does not require external reality. You discover that your mind is far more creative, far more powerful, and far more mysterious than you ever imagined. You discover that the boundary between what is real and what is imagined is far more fluid than we typically assume. As we move forward together, remember this: you are not learning something foreign. You are not acquiring a new skill that your brain does not already possess. You are simply learning to recognize what is already happening. You are learning to become conscious of processes that occur naturally every night. You are learning the language that your sleeping mind already speaks. And through this learning, you will gain access to a realm of experience that most people never consciously explore. The night is waiting for you. Your dreams are waiting for you. And within those dreams, a world of infinite possibility awaits. Let us begin this journey together, moving gently into the depths of sleep, into the landscapes of the mind, and into the extraordinary power of lucid consciousness. Your brain during sleep every night. Your brain embarks on a journey that is as complex and structured as any waking activity. Most people think of sleep as a simple shutdown, a time when the brain rests and restores itself. But the reality is far more intricate and fascinating. Your brain never truly rests during sleep. Instead, it shifts into different modes of operation, cycling through distinct stages, each with its own neurological signature and its own function. Understanding these stages is essential because lucid dreaming does not occur randomly. It occurs during specific phases of the sleep cycle, and understanding when and how these phases happen will help you recognize the optimal times to practice and achieve lucidity. Sleep architecture, as scientists call it, follows a remarkably consistent pattern. When you first lie down and close your eyes, you do not immediately plunge into deep sleep. Instead, you enter what is called non-REM sleep, which itself has multiple stages. The very first stage is light sleep, where your brain waves begin to slow from the rapid patterns of wakefulness. Your muscles start to relax. Your body temperature drops slightly. You can still be easily awakened. This stage typically lasts only a few minutes, a brief transition from the alert state of waking consciousness to something deeper. From this light stage, you progress into deeper non-REM sleep. Your brain waves continue to slow. The electrical activity that was rapid and scattered during waking now becomes more organized and rhythmic. These slow, synchronized waves are called sleep spindles and slow-wave sleep. During this deeper non-REM stage, your body undergoes significant restoration. Your muscles repair themselves, your immune system strengthens, your body releases growth hormones that help with physical recovery. This is the sleep stage where your body does much of its healing work. Your heart rate drops, your blood pressure decreases, your body conserves energy and focuses on physical restoration. But then something remarkable happens. After approximately 90 minutes of non-REM sleep, your brain does not continue deeper into even more profound unconsciousness. Instead, it reverses course. It transitions into a completely different state called REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement sleep. This is where dreams happen, and this is where lucid dreaming becomes possible. During REM sleep, something extraordinary occurs in your brain. Your eyes begin to move rapidly from side to side beneath closed eyelids, hence the name. Your brainwave patterns become more similar to waking patterns, faster and more chaotic. Your body temperature regulation becomes less effective, and you may experience brief moments of feeling hot or cold. Most remarkably, a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine floods your brain, while other neurotransmitters like norepinephrine and serotonin decrease significantly. This chemical shift is crucial because it creates the conditions for vivid, emotional, and often illogical dreams. During REM sleep, your brain is remarkably active. The visual cortex fires intensely, creating the visual imagery of dreams. The motor cortex activates as if you are moving, yet your muscles remain paralyzed by a process called atonia. This is why you can dream of running or flying without your body actually moving. Your emotional centers, particularly the amygdala, become highly active, which is why dreams are often emotionally intense. Yet the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logical thinking and judgment, shows reduced activity. This explains why dreams often contain bizarre, illogical elements that you accept without question while dreaming. Your brain cycles through this pattern repeatedly throughout the night. You experience non-REM sleep, then REM sleep, then back to non-REM, then REM again. These cycles, called ultradian rhythms, typically last about 90 minutes each. Most people experience 4 to 6 complete cycles during a normal night of sleep. But here is the crucial detail. As the night progresses, the REM periods become longer and the non-REM periods become shorter. Your first REM period might last only 10 minutes, but your final REM period, the one that occurs in the early morning hours, can last up to an hour or more. This means that the most vivid dreams and the longest opportunities for lucid dreaming occur toward the end of the night. The brain regions that activate during REM sleep paint a fascinating picture of why dreams are the way they are. The visual cortex creates the imagery. The motor cortex generates the sensation of movement. The sensory cortex produces the feeling of touch, temperature, and physical sensation. The emotional centers create the intense feelings. But remember, the prefrontal cortex is relatively quiet. This region is responsible for logic, for recognizing contradictions, for maintaining a sense of self and time. When it is less active, you lose these anchors. You accept that you can breathe underwater. You accept that you are in a place that is simultaneously your childhood home and your current city. You accept that people change identities mid-conversation. This is not a malfunction. This is simply how your brain operates when the logical regions are offline. What is particularly interesting for the purpose of lucid dreaming is that during REM sleep, your brain is capable of supporting consciousness. You are conscious during REM sleep. You are aware, you are experiencing. The problem is that you are not aware that you are dreaming. Your consciousness is fully engaged with the dream narrative. You are completely absorbed in the dream world. But consciousness is present. This is the key insight. Lucid dreaming does not require you to wake up. It does not require you to interrupt your sleep. It simply requires you to become aware of your consciousness while it remains embedded in the dream. Throughout the night, your body also undergoes cyclical changes that affect your sleep quality and your ability to achieve lucidity. Your core body temperature drops during sleep and rises again toward morning. Your hormonal levels shift. Melatonin, the hormone that promotes sleep, peaks during the night and then decreases toward dawn. Cortisol, which promotes wakefulness, begins to rise in the early morning hours. These natural rhythms mean that your sleep is not uniform throughout the night. The early cycles are often deeper and more restorative. The later cycles are lighter and more conducive to lucid dreaming. Understanding this architecture of sleep is not merely academic knowledge. It has practical implications for your practice of lucid dreaming. It tells you that if you want to practice lucid dreaming, the early morning hours during your final sleep cycles are often the most fertile ground. It tells you that REM sleep is your target state, not the deep non-REM sleep where dreams are less common and lucidity is rarer. It tells you that your brain is already capable of supporting consciousness during dreams. It is not a matter of changing your brain chemistry or forcing it into an unnatural state. It is a matter of directing the consciousness that is already present during REM sleep toward awareness of the dream itself. The next time you sleep, you can rest, knowing that your brain is embarking on this intricate journey. You can visualize the cycles, the stages, the shifts in brain chemistry, and you can begin to recognize that within these cycles, within these stages, within these chemical shifts, lies the opportunity for lucidity. Your brain is already doing all the work. You are simply learning to direct your awareness toward what is already happening. That the science of lucidity. The moment you become aware that you are dreaming while the dream continues around you, something remarkable happens in your brain. This is not imagination. This is not wishful thinking. This is a measurable change in neurological activity that scientists can detect and quantify. When researchers place sleeping people in laboratories and monitor their brain activity while they experience lucid dreams, they observe a distinct pattern that differs from both ordinary dreaming and waking consciousness. Understanding this pattern, understanding what actually happens in your brain when you become lucid, provides both scientific validation and practical insight into how to cultivate this state. The most significant change that occurs during lucid dreaming is an increase in activity in the prefrontal cortex, the very region that showed reduced activity during ordinary REM sleep. Remember, during normal dreams, your prefrontal cortex is relatively quiet, which is why you lose your logical thinking and your sense of reality testing. But during lucid dreams, this region reawakens. It does not reawaken completely, as it would during waking consciousness. Instead, it reawakens partially, creating a unique hybrid state. You regain some logical thinking, some ability to reason, some capacity to question reality. Yet you remain immersed in the sensory richness and emotional intensity of the dream. It is as if you have turned on a light in a room that was dark, but you have left the lights dimmed enough that you can still see the dream landscape clearly. Brain imaging studies using electroencephalography, or EEG, show that during lucid dreaming, there is increased activity in the frontal and frontopolar regions of the brain. These are the areas associated with self-reflection, with awareness of awareness, with the ability to think about your own thinking. This makes intuitive sense. To become aware that you are dreaming, you must be able to reflect on your experience. You must be able to observe yourself observing the dream. This is a higher order form of consciousness, sometimes called metacognition, the ability to think about thinking. Functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, which shows which brain regions are active by measuring blood flow, reveals another crucial finding. During lucid dreaming, there is increased connectivity between different brain regions that typically work in isolation from each other. Specifically, there is increased communication between the prefrontal cortex and the areas of the brain responsible for creating the dream imagery and sensations. This communication is remarkable because it allows you to maintain both the logical awareness that you are dreaming and the sensory immersion in the dream. You are simultaneously the observer and the participant, the conscious mind directing the experience and the dreaming mind creating it. The neurotransmitter acetylcholine, which floods the brain during REM sleep and creates the vivid sensations and emotions of dreams, remains present during lucid dreaming. This is crucial because it means you do not lose the richness of dream experience. You do not transform a vivid dream into a pale, logical thought. Instead, you maintain the sensory vividness while adding conscious awareness. The emotional intensity of the dream remains, the visual clarity remains, the sense of presence and immersion remains. But now overlaid on top of this vivid experience is the awareness that this is a dream. Scientists have also discovered something called the anterior insula, a region deep in the brain associated with self-awareness and bodily awareness, shows increased activity during lucid dreaming. This helps explain why you can suddenly become aware that you are dreaming. The anterior insula is responsible for that sense of self, that inner feeling of being you. When this region becomes more active during REM sleep, it creates a stronger sense of self-awareness, a stronger sense of being a conscious entity, observing the dream, rather than being completely absorbed in it. One of the most fascinating discoveries is that lucid dreaming appears to activate brain regions associated with both the default mode network and the task-positive network simultaneously. The default mode network is active during mind-wandering and self-referential thinking. The task-positive network is active when you are focused on external tasks. During normal waking consciousness, these two networks typically suppress each other. When one is active, the other tends to be quiet. But during lucid dreaming, both are active at the same time. You are simultaneously lost in the dream narrative and observing it from outside. You are both the dreamer and the observer of the dream. The implications of this are profound. It means that lucid dreaming is not a suppression of dreaming or an interruption of sleep. It is an enhancement of consciousness during sleep. It is a state where your brain achieves a kind of integration that rarely occurs during normal waking life. Most of the time, you are either absorbed in external tasks or lost in internal thought. But during lucid dreaming, you achieve a balance between these modes. You are aware of yourself while simultaneously being immersed in a rich sensory experience. You are conscious and embodied at the same time. Research has also shown that the ability to achieve lucid dreams is not randomly distributed. Some people naturally experience lucid dreams frequently, while others rarely do. Brain imaging studies of people who frequently experience lucid dreams reveal that they tend to have larger anterior prefrontal cortex regions compared to people who rarely lucid dream. They also show greater connectivity between frontal regions and other parts of the brain. This suggests that some people are neurologically predisposed to lucidity, but this does not mean that people without these traits cannot develop lucid dreaming. The brain is plastic. It can change. It can develop new connections and new patterns of activation. Through practice and intention, anyone can train their brain to achieve lucidity during dreams. The temporal aspects of lucid dreaming are also interesting. When people are lucid in dreams, their sense of time often shifts. Some lucid dreamers report that dreams that felt like hours lasted only minutes of real time. Others report the opposite, that brief dream segments felt like extended periods. This makes sense given what we know about brain activity during REM sleep. The regions responsible for tracking time are less active, so your subjective sense of time becomes uncoupled from objective time. But the remarkable thing is that within the lucid dream, you can often track time more accurately than in ordinary dreams because your prefrontal cortex, which helps monitor time, is more active. Another important finding from neuroscience is that lucid dreaming is associated with increased gamma band activity in the brain. Gamma waves are high-frequency brain waves associated with conscious awareness, attention, and integration of information across different brain regions. When people become lucid in dreams, gamma wave activity increases, particularly in the frontal regions. This increase in gamma activity correlates with the subjective experience of becoming aware that you are dreaming. It is as if your brain is lighting up in a particular way that corresponds to the emergence of conscious awareness within the dream. What is particularly empowering about understanding the neuroscience of lucid dreaming is that it reveals that this state is not mystical or magical. It is not outside the laws of neuroscience. It is a natural state that your brain is capable of producing. It is a state that has specific neurological correlates that can be measured and studied. And because it is a natural state with specific neurological signatures, it can be cultivated through practice. By understanding what happens in your brain during lucid dreaming, by understanding which regions activate and how they communicate, you gain insight into how to encourage these patterns to emerge. The brain does not distinguish between lucid and non-lucid dreams in terms of basic dream generation. The same regions that create ordinary dreams create lucid dreams. The difference is in the addition of metacognitive awareness, the activation of regions associated with self-reflection and reality testing. This means that you are not trying to force your brain into an entirely new state. You are simply trying to add a layer of awareness on top of the dreaming process that is already happening. You are trying to keep your prefrontal cortex slightly more active during REM sleep. You are trying to maintain some degree of self-reflection while remaining immersed in the dream. This is a subtle shift, but it is a shift that can be cultivated through practice, through intention, and through the techniques that we will explore together. Recognizing the dream sign. Within the landscape of your personal dreams, there exists a hidden language. This language is unique to you. It is written in the patterns and symbols and illogical elements that appear repeatedly in your dream world. Learning to read this language, learning to recognize these patterns, is one of the most powerful tools for achieving lucidity. When you can recognize the signs that you are dreaming, recognition can become automatic. It can become a habit that carries over into your dreams. And once you recognize that you are dreaming, lucidity is only a moment away. Every person has dream signs, recurring elements or patterns that appear frequently in their dreams. For some people, the dream sign might be a particular location that appears again and again, sometimes transformed or distorted, but recognizable. For others, it might be a recurring person or character. For still others, it might be a type of event or activity that repeats. Some people dream frequently about being chased, or about being naked in public, or about trying to communicate but being unable to speak. These recurring elements are dream signs. They are the signature patterns of your personal dream landscape. But dream signs are not limited to recurring themes. They also include the illogical elements that appear in dreams, the things that do not make sense according to waking reality. Perhaps in your dreams, You frequently find yourself in a place that is simultaneously indoors and outdoors. Perhaps people you know have different faces or identities than they have in waking life. Perhaps you can do things that are physically impossible, like breathing underwater or walking through walls. Perhaps gravity works differently, or time flows in strange ways. Perhaps you are younger or older than you actually are. Perhaps you possess abilities or knowledge that you do not have in waking life. All of these illogical elements are potential dream signs. The reason dream signs are so powerful for achieving lucidity is simple. They are markers of the dream state. They are signals that your brain is in a different mode of operation than waking consciousness. When you encounter a dream sign, when you notice something that does not make logical sense, you have an opportunity to recognize that you are dreaming. The challenge is that during ordinary dreams, you do not question these illogical elements. Your logical mind is relatively offline, so you accept them without question. But if you develop the habit of questioning reality during waking life, if you practice recognizing impossibilities and illogical elements while awake, this habit can carry over into your dreams. To identify your personal dream signs, you need to begin observing your dreams more carefully. This is why keeping a dream journal is so valuable. Each time you wake from a dream before you get out of bed, take a moment to recall the dream. Write down what you remember. Include not just the narrative of the dream, but the details. What locations appeared? What people were present? What emotions did you feel? What events occurred? What physical sensations did you experience? What was unusual or illogical about the dream? As you record your dreams over days and weeks, patterns will begin to emerge. You will notice that certain locations appear repeatedly. You will notice that certain people or types of people appear frequently. You will notice that certain events or activities recur. You will notice that certain illogical elements appear again and again. These are your dream signs. These are the fingerprints of your personal dream landscape. Some dream signs are content-based, meaning they are specific things that appear in your dreams. Perhaps you frequently dream about your childhood home, or about a particular person, or about a specific activity like flying or swimming. These content-based signs are valuable because when you encounter them in a dream, you can use them as a cue to reality test and check whether you are dreaming. Other dream signs are more structural, based on the nature of the dream experience itself rather than specific content. Perhaps you frequently experience dreams where you are unable to read text or where text keeps changing when you look at it multiple times. Perhaps you frequently experience dreams where you cannot speak clearly or where your voice sounds strange. Perhaps you frequently experience dreams where you are trying to do something but cannot quite accomplish it, like trying to run but moving in slow motion. These structural dream signs are also valuable cues that you are dreaming. Still, other dream signs are emotional or sensory in nature. Perhaps you frequently experience dreams with a particular emotional tone, like anxiety or excitement or sadness. Perhaps you frequently experience dreams with particular sensory qualities, like darkness or unusual colors or distorted perspectives. These emotional and sensory signs can also serve as cues to reality test. Once you have identified your personal dream signs, the next step is to consciously cultivate awareness of them. During your waking day, when you encounter situations that remind you of your dream signs, pause and reflect. If you dream frequently about a particular location and you happen to see something that reminds you of that location, pause and consider, am I dreaming right now? If you dream frequently about a particular person and you think of that person during the day, pause and reality test. If you dream frequently about illogical events and you encounter something in waking life that is strange or unusual, pause and consider whether you might be dreaming. This practice of pausing to reality test when you encounter reminders of your dream signs creates a habit of consciousness. You are training your mind to become more aware of reality, to question more frequently, to reality test more often. And crucially, this habit of consciousness can carry over into your dreams. If you develop the habit of questioning reality and reality testing during waking life, you are likely to do the same thing in dreams. And when you reality test in a dream, when you check to see if you are dreaming, you will discover that you are. The dream sign will trigger a reality test, and the reality test will reveal that you are dreaming. and in that moment you become lucid. Different people respond to different dream signs. Some people find that content-based signs are most effective for them. Others find that structural signs work better. Still others find that emotional or sensory signs are most useful. This is why developing your own personal understanding of your dreams, your own personal dream journal, is so valuable. You are not trying to fit your dreams into someone else's categories. You are learning the unique language of your own mind. As you continue to observe your dreams and identify your dream signs, you may notice that your dream signs evolve. You may notice that as you become more conscious during waking life, as you practice reality testing more frequently, your dream signs may become more obvious or more frequent. This is actually a positive development. It means that your mind is responding to your intention to become more aware. It means that your dreams are becoming more responsive to your conscious attention. Your unconscious mind is learning that you are interested in noticing dream signs, and it is beginning to emphasize them, to make them more obvious, to present them more frequently. Some lucid dreamers develop what is called a personal power sign, a particular element or action that they decide will always trigger a reality test in their dreams. For example, you might decide that whenever you see the color red in a dream, you will reality test, or whenever you try to read something, you will reality test. Or whenever you encounter a particular symbol or object, you will reality test. By repeatedly associating this trigger with reality testing during waking life, you create a strong habit that carries over into dreams. When you encounter your power sign in a dream, you automatically reality test, and when you reality test, you discover that you are dreaming. The beauty of working with dream signs is that it works with your natural dream patterns rather than against them. You are not trying to stop dreaming or interrupt your sleep. You are simply learning to recognize what is already happening. You are learning to read the language that your dreams are already speaking. And once you can read this language, once you can recognize the signs, lucidity becomes not something you have to force or strain for, but something that emerges naturally as you notice the obvious markers that you are dreaming. Reality checks. Your daily anchor. Throughout your waking day, you move through the world accepting the reality around you without constant verification. You assume that the ground beneath your feet is solid. You assume that other people are real. You assume that the laws of physics are in effect. You assume that your body works the way you expect it to. These assumptions are so automatic, so seamless, that you never consciously question them. But what if you could develop the habit of questioning these assumptions more frequently? What if you could train yourself to reality test, to verify reality multiple times each day? If you do this consistently, this habit of consciousness will carry over into your dreams. And when you reality test in a dream, the results will be different. You will discover anomalies. You will discover that reality is not quite as solid as you assumed, and in that moment of discovery, you will become lucid. A reality check is a simple action or observation that you perform to verify that you are in waking reality. The key to reality checks is that they work differently in dreams than they do in waking life. In waking life, the reality check confirms that you are awake. In dreams, the reality check reveals something impossible or illogical, which signals that you are dreaming. By performing reality checks repeatedly throughout your waking day, you create a habit of consciousness. This habit is so strong, so automatic, that it carries over into your dreams. When you perform a reality check in a dream, the unusual results trigger awareness that you are dreaming. One of the most popular and effective reality checks is text reading. In waking life, when you look at text, it remains stable and consistent. If you read a sentence and then look away and read it again, the text will be the same. But in dreams, text is notoriously unstable. Dream text often changes when you look at it again. Letters might rearrange themselves. Words might transform into different words. The meaning might shift. Numbers might change. This instability is due to the way your brain generates dreams. The language centers of your brain are less active during REM sleep, so text is not maintained as stably in dream imagery. By making a habit of reading text and then reading it again during waking life, you create a trigger that will work in dreams. When you read text in a dream and it shifts or changes, you will recognize that something is wrong, and you will realize that you are dreaming. Another powerful reality check involves checking the time. In waking life, when you look at a clock, the time remains consistent with the laws of physics. If you look at a clock and then look away and look back, the time will have advanced by the amount of time that actually passed. But in dreams, time is often unstable. When you look at a clock in a dream, the time might jump erratically. The hands might move in strange ways. The numbers might be unreadable or nonsensical. Digital clocks might display impossible times. By making a habit of checking the time repeatedly throughout your waking day, you create a trigger that will work in dreams. When you check the time in a dream and it behaves strangely, you will recognize that you are dreaming. A third effective reality check involves testing your physical body. In waking life, your body behaves according to the laws of physics. If you try to push your finger through your palm, your finger will not pass through. Your finger will either stop at the surface of your palm or it will bend, but it will not pass through solid matter. But in dreams, the laws of physics are often suspended. When you try to push your finger through your palm in a dream, your finger might pass through, or it might feel strange and yielding, or it might disappear. By making a habit of trying to push your finger through your palm during waking life, you create a trigger that will work in dreams. When you attempt this action in a dream and it produces unexpected results, you will realize that you are dreaming. Another physical reality check involves testing gravity. In waking life, when you jump, gravity pulls you back down. You fall. You land on the ground. But in dreams, gravity is often modified or absent. When you jump in a dream, you might float. You might drift slowly downward. You might bounce repeatedly. By making a habit of jumping and observing how gravity affects you during waking life, you create a trigger that will work in dreams. When you jump in a dream and gravity behaves unusually, you will recognize that you are dreaming. Some people use a reality check based on light and vision. In waking life, you can control light with switches and by opening or closing your eyes. When you close your eyes, the world goes dark. When you open them, you see light and color. But in dreams, light and darkness are not always under your control in the way you expect. When you try to turn on a light in a dream, it might not work, or it might work strangely, or you might be able to see clearly even in complete darkness. By making a habit of observing light and trying to control it during waking life, you create a trigger that will work in dreams. When you try to control light in a dream and it behaves unexpectedly, you will recognize that you are dreaming. Another category of reality checks involves breathing. In waking life, you can always breathe through your nose even when your mouth is closed. You can feel the air moving through your nostrils. But in dreams, breathing is sometimes impossible or strange. Some lucid dreamers report that when they try to breathe through their nose in a dream, they cannot. The air does not move, the sensation is absent. By making a habit of checking your breath during waking life, by pinching your nose and trying to breathe through it, you create a trigger that will work in dreams. When you check your breath in a dream and it behaves strangely, you will recognize that you are dreaming. The key to making reality checks effective is consistency and intention. You cannot perform a reality check once and expect it to become a habit that carries over into dreams. You need to perform reality checks repeatedly, many times throughout your waking day. Ideally, you should aim for at least 5 to 10 reality checks per day, spread throughout your day. The more frequently you reality check while awake, the more likely you are to spontaneously reality check in dreams. One strategy for increasing the frequency of reality checks is to anchor them to existing habits. Every time you check your phone, perform a reality check. Every time you look at a clock, perform a reality check. Every time you walk through a doorway, perform a reality check. Every time you sit down, perform a reality check. By linking reality checks to actions you already do frequently, you ensure that you will perform them multiple times throughout your day without having to remember to do so. Another strategy is to set reminders. You can set alarms on your phone to go off at random intervals throughout the day, reminding you to perform a reality check. You can place notes in places you frequent, reminding you to reality test. You can wear a bracelet or ring and use it as a visual reminder to reality check whenever you notice it. It is important to perform reality checks with genuine curiosity and intention. Do not perform them mechanically or half-heartedly. When you reality check, truly wonder whether you might be dreaming. Genuinely consider the possibility. Look at the results of your reality check with real attention. This genuine engagement with the question of whether you are dreaming creates a stronger habit of consciousness, and this habit is more likely to carry over into dreams. As you develop the habit of reality checking, you may notice something interesting. You may begin to reality check in dreams spontaneously. You may perform a reality check in a dream without planning to do so. This is the habit of consciousness doing its work. And when you reality check in a dream when the results reveal something impossible, you will recognize that you are dreaming. In that moment, you become lucid. Some advanced practitioners develop a specific phrase or intention that they repeat when they reality check. They might say to themselves, "I am checking my reality. Am I dreaming right now? Or is this real? Can I find any signs that I am dreaming?" By repeating this intention while reality checking throughout the day, you reinforce the habit even more strongly. You are not just checking reality through an action, you are also reinforcing the intention through words and thought. And this multi-layered approach to creating the habit makes it even more likely to carry over into dreams. The beauty of reality checks is that they are simple, they are free, and they work. They work because they harness the power of habit and intention. They work because they train your mind to become more aware of reality. And they work because this awareness, this habit of questioning reality, naturally carries over into the dream state. By performing reality checks consistently throughout your waking day, you are planting seeds that will blossom into lucidity during your dreams. The mild technique, intention meets sleep. There exists a moment, a threshold moment, where your waking consciousness begins to fade and your dreaming consciousness begins to emerge. This is not an instantaneous transition, it is a gradual shift, a slow dissolving of one state of mind into another. And within this threshold moment, there exists an opportunity. If you can maintain awareness during this transition, if you can hold your intention steady even as your body falls asleep, you can enter your dream directly with full awareness. This is the essence of the mild technique, which stands for mnemonic induction of lucid dreams. It is one of the most effective and accessible methods for achieving lucidity, and it works by combining memory, intention, and the natural sleep transition. The mild technique was developed by researcher Stephen LaBerge, who conducted pioneering research on lucid dreaming at Stanford University. The technique is based on a simple principle. By setting a clear intention to become lucid in your dreams, and by reinforcing this intention repeatedly as you fall asleep, you can increase the likelihood that this intention will manifest in your dreams. The technique works with your natural sleep processes rather than against them. It does not require you to do anything unusual or uncomfortable. It simply requires you to direct your intention and attention in a specific way during the transition to sleep. The mild technique begins during the day before you sleep. Throughout your waking hours, you cultivate awareness of your dreams from the previous night. You recall your dreams in detail. You think about them. You write them in your journal. You reflect on them. This is not random daydreaming. This is intentional engagement with your dream memory. By doing this, you are priming your mind to be interested in dreams, to pay attention to dreams, to remember dreams. You are creating mental momentum toward lucidity. Then, as evening approaches and you prepare for sleep, you set a specific intention. You might say to yourself, "Tonight I will become lucid in my dreams. I will recognize when I am dreaming, and I will become aware within the dream." You might write this intention down. You might repeat it several times. You might visualize yourself becoming lucid in a dream. The key is to create a clear, specific intention, not a vague hope, but a clear decision and commitment. When you lie down to sleep, you do not immediately try to fall asleep. Instead, you lie quietly and continue to focus on your intention. You might repeat your intention silently to yourself. You might visualize becoming lucid. You might imagine yourself in a dream scene, recognizing that it is a dream and becoming lucid. You are essentially rehearsing lucidity in your mind. You are creating a mental template, a pattern that your mind can follow. Some people find it helpful to visualize themselves performing a reality check in a dream and discovering that they are dreaming. Others visualize themselves in a familiar dream location, suddenly becoming aware that they are dreaming. As you continue to lie quietly, maintaining your intention, your body will begin to relax, your muscles will soften, your breathing will slow and deepen, your thoughts will become more fluid and less logical. This is the transition towards sleep. Your conscious mind is beginning to fade, and your unconscious mind is beginning to emerge. Most people at this point lose consciousness. They drift off into sleep, and their conscious awareness fades. But with the mild technique, you are trying to maintain a thread of consciousness even as your body falls asleep. This is where the technique becomes subtle and requires practice. You are trying to maintain awareness without becoming so alert that you disrupt sleep. It is a delicate balance. You are not trying to stay fully conscious. You are not trying to resist sleep. You are allowing your body to relax, allowing sleep to come. But you are maintaining a thin thread of awareness, a light touch of consciousness that observes the sleep transition without interfering with it. As you maintain this thin thread of awareness, you may experience what are called hypnagogic phenomena. These are the strange experiences that occur during the transition to sleep. You might see flashes of imagery, geometric patterns, faces or scenes. You might hear sounds or music. You might feel sensations like falling, floating, or vibrations. These are not hallucinations or signs of illness. They are normal phenomena that occur when your visual and auditory systems are beginning to generate imagery according to dream logic, while your conscious awareness is still partially present. Rather than being disturbed by these phenomena, you can use them as signals that you are approaching the sleep transition. You can observe them with interest and curiosity. The key to the mild technique is to maintain your intention throughout this process. Even as the hypnagogic imagery appears, even as your body feels heavy and your thoughts become strange and fluid, you continue to hold your intention to become lucid. You might silently repeat your intention. I will become lucid in my dreams. I will recognize the dream and become aware. You are reinforcing the intention even as your conscious mind begins to fade. Then, at some point, you lose consciousness. You fall asleep. Your conscious awareness fades. But here is the remarkable thing. The intention you have been holding, the mental template you have been creating, remains active in your unconscious mind. It has been impressed upon your mind deeply. It has been reinforced repeatedly. And when you enter REM sleep, when your brain begins to generate a dream, this intention influences the dream. Your unconscious mind, which has been primed to notice lucid dreaming, is more likely to generate a dream in which you become aware that you are dreaming. You are more likely to recognize the dream and become lucid. The mild technique is particularly effective because it works with the way memory and intention naturally influence dreams. Your dreams are generated by your brain, and your brain is influenced by what you have been thinking about, what you have been focusing on, what you have set as intentions. By deliberately focusing your thoughts and intentions toward lucidity, you are directing your brain to produce dreams that are more conducive to lucidity. Some people find that the mild technique works quickly for them. They may become lucid within the first night of practice. Others find that it takes several nights or weeks of consistent practice before the technique produces results. The variation in response is normal. Different people's brains respond differently to different techniques, but across many studies and across the reports of thousands of lucid dreamers, the mild technique has proven to be one of the most reliable and effective methods. To enhance the effectiveness of the mild technique, you can combine it with other practices. For example, you can combine mild with consistent reality checking during the day. As you reality check throughout your day, you reinforce the habit of questioning reality. This habit carries over into your dreams. Then, as you practice mild in the evening, you set the intention to become lucid. The combination of these two practices, the habit of reality checking and the intention of mild, creates a powerful synergy. Your mind becomes primed to notice when something is wrong, to reality test, and to discover that you are dreaming. Another way to enhance mild is to practice it during a nap. Some people find that the mild technique is easier to perform during a brief nap in the afternoon or early evening than during a full night's sleep. During a nap, the transition to sleep is often faster, and you may find it easier to maintain that thread of awareness while your body falls asleep. If you can achieve lucidity during a nap, you will have proof that the technique works, and this proof can strengthen your confidence and your intention for nighttime practice. The timing of mild practice is also important. The technique is most effective when practiced during the final sleep cycles of the night, when REM periods are longer and more conducive to lucidity. This is why some advanced practitioners use the technique in combination with an alarm clock. They set an alarm to wake them after approximately 5 to 6 hours of sleep, which brings them to a point in the night where the REM periods are long. They wake briefly, recall their dreams, set their intention, and then return to sleep with the intention to become lucid. This practice, called the Wake Back to Bed or WBTB technique combined with mild, can significantly increase the likelihood of achieving lucidity. The mild technique teaches an important lesson about the power of intention and attention. Your mind tends to move toward what you focus on. If you focus on becoming lucid, if you hold this intention steadily, your mind will work toward this goal. You are not forcing lucidity through effort or strain. You are allowing lucidity to emerge naturally through the power of intention and the natural processes of your mind. You are working with your brain rather than against it. And through this gentle, intentional approach, you open the door to lucid dreaming. The wild technique, conscious entry. There exists a method of entering lucid dreams that is more direct and immediate than any other. Rather than falling asleep unconsciously and then trying to become aware within a dream, you maintain consciousness throughout the entire process of falling asleep. You remain awake, watching the transition from waking to dreaming unfold before your conscious awareness. And when your body falls completely asleep while your consciousness remains active, you find yourself suddenly in a dream, with full awareness already present. This is the wild technique, which stands for Wake-Initiated Lucid Dream. It is a powerful and direct path to lucidity, though it requires patience and practice to master. The wild technique works by exploiting the natural processes that occur as your body transitions from waking to sleeping. Normally, when you fall asleep, your consciousness fades gradually. You lose awareness of your body. You lose awareness of the external world. You lose the sense of being in your bed, in your room, in your house. Your consciousness fades into unconsciousness, and when it returns, you are already in a dream. But with the wild technique, you are trying to maintain consciousness through this entire transition. You are trying to stay awake while your body falls asleep. You are trying to observe the process of falling asleep from within the process itself. The challenge of the wild technique is that consciousness and sleep are in some ways opposing states. When your body is falling asleep, consciousness naturally fades. This is the normal, default process. Maintaining consciousness while your body falls asleep requires you to work against this natural tendency. It requires a delicate balance. You must remain alert and conscious enough to observe the process, but relaxed enough that your body can actually fall asleep. If you remain too alert, your body will not fall asleep. If you relax too much, you will lose consciousness. The wild technique is about finding the narrow path between these two extremes. The typical approach to practicing wild begins with lying down in a comfortable position, usually in the morning or after you have already slept for several hours. The reason morning or late sleep is preferred is that your sleep pressure is lower at these times. You are not desperately tired. You can fall asleep if you want to, but you are not so exhausted that sleep is overwhelming. This makes it easier to maintain consciousness while your body falls asleep. If you try the wild technique when you are extremely tired, your body will likely fall asleep before you can maintain consciousness through the transition. Once you're lying down in a comfortable position, you begin to relax your body. You might start by tensing and then relaxing each muscle group, moving from your toes to your head. Or you might simply lie still and allow your body to relax naturally. As your body relaxes, you continue to maintain mental awareness. You are conscious. You are observing what is happening. But you are not trying to do anything or control anything. You are simply maintaining awareness while allowing your body to fall asleep naturally. As your body relaxes and begins to fall asleep, you will notice that your awareness of your body begins to fade. You may no longer be able to feel the bed beneath you. You may no longer be able to feel your limbs. This is normal. Your proprioception, your sense of where your body is in space, is decreasing as your body falls asleep. Rather than being alarmed by this, you can observe it with interest. You are watching the process of sleep occurring. You are maintaining consciousness while your body falls asleep. As this process continues, you may begin to experience hypnagogic phenomena. You may see flashes of imagery, geometric patterns, scenes, or faces. You may hear sounds or music. You may feel vibrations or waves of energy moving through your body. These experiences can be startling if you are not expecting them, but they are completely normal. They are the result of your visual and auditory systems beginning to generate imagery according to dream logic, while your conscious awareness is still partially present. Some people find these hypnagogic experiences fascinating and use them as signals that they are on the right path, approaching the sleep transition. One of the most common hypnagogic experiences is the sensation of vibrations. Many people practicing the wild technique report feeling intense vibrations throughout their body as they approach the sleep transition. These vibrations can feel like electricity running through your body, or like your entire body is resonating at a particular frequency. These vibrations are not dangerous. They are simply the result of your nervous system transitioning from the alert state of waking to the relaxed state of sleeping. Some lucid dreamers find these vibrations pleasant. Others find them uncomfortable. If you find them uncomfortable, you can try to remain calm and observe them without resistance. Often, if you can relax and accept the vibrations rather than tense against them, they will pass, and you will transition into the dream. As you continue through the wild process, maintaining consciousness while your body falls asleep, you will eventually reach a point where your body is completely asleep. You can no longer feel your physical body. You have no awareness of the bed, the room, or the external world, but your consciousness remains active. You are still aware. You are still conscious, and at this point something remarkable happens. Your brain, which is now in a state of sleep, begins to generate dream imagery. But because your consciousness is already present, already active, you do not need to wait for a dream to generate and then become aware within it. You are already aware. The dream imagery that begins to appear is immediately perceived by your conscious awareness. You are immediately lucid. The transition from the waking state of consciousness to the dream state while maintaining awareness is often described as stepping into a dream world. You might suddenly find yourself in a location, fully present, fully aware, with complete sensory detail. Or the transition might be more gradual. You might see the dream environment forming around you, becoming more real and detailed as you move deeper into the sleep state. Either way, you are immediately aware that you are dreaming because you have maintained continuous consciousness throughout the entire process. You know that your body is asleep in your bed, yet you are conscious and present in a dream environment. This is lucidity, achieved through the wild technique. The advantage of the wild technique is its immediacy. Once you have mastered it, you can achieve lucidity within minutes, simply by lying down with the intention to practice wild. You do not have to wait for a full night of sleep and then hope that you become lucid. You can achieve lucidity on demand. However, the challenge of the wild technique is that it requires significant practice to master. The balance between remaining conscious and allowing your body to fall asleep is delicate. Many people find that they fall asleep unconsciously before they can maintain consciousness through the transition, or they remain too alert and their body does not fall asleep at all. But with consistent practice, with patience and gentle persistence, most people can eventually master the wild technique. Some practitioners enhance the wild technique by using specific focus points. Rather than trying to maintain general awareness, they focus their conscious attention on a specific object or sensation. Some people focus on watching the hypnagogic imagery, observing the visual patterns and scenes that appear as they approach sleep. Others focus on listening to internal sounds or music that appears. Others focus on maintaining awareness of a particular body part, like their hands or their face. By focusing attention on a specific point, you create an anchor for consciousness. This anchor makes it easier to maintain awareness even as your body falls asleep, because you have a specific thing to hold your attention on. Another variation of the wild technique involves movement. Some practitioners find that performing small, intentional movements with their dream body, before their physical body is completely asleep, can help smooth the transition. They might imagine moving their dream hand or turning over in their dream body, even though their physical body remains motionless. This practice of moving your dream body while your physical body remains asleep can help establish the dream environment and can facilitate the transition to full lucidity. The wild technique teaches a profound lesson about the nature of consciousness. It demonstrates that consciousness does not require a body to move through space. It demonstrates that consciousness can exist independently of the physical body. It demonstrates that awareness can be maintained even when the body is completely asleep. These insights, gained through the direct experience of the wild technique, can shift your understanding of consciousness and reality in fundamental ways. The wild technique is not just a method for achieving lucidity, it is a window into the nature of consciousness itself. Stabilizing your lucid dream. You have achieved it. You have become aware that you are dreaming. The moment has arrived. But now comes a new challenge, maintaining that lucidity, keeping your awareness stable and clear within the dream. For many people, the moment of achieving lucidity is thrilling but brief. The excitement of realizing that you are dreaming can cause the dream to destabilize. You might suddenly feel yourself waking up. The dream environment might become fuzzy or unstable. The clarity you achieved might fade rapidly. This is why learning to stabilize your lucid dreams, to maintain lucidity once it is achieved, is crucial. Stabilization techniques allow you to extend your lucid dreams, to maintain clarity and control, and to fully explore the possibilities of the lucid state. The reason lucid dreams become unstable is related to what we know about brain activity during lucidity. When you first become lucid, there is often a surge of excitement and emotion. This emotional surge can cause your brain activity to shift. It can cause the regions that generate the dream to become less active, while the regions associated with waking consciousness become more active. This shift in brain activity can cause the dream to fade or destabilize. To stabilize the dream, you need to calm the excitement, to moderate your emotional response, and to maintain a balanced state of consciousness that supports both lucidity and the vivid dream environment. One of the most effective stabilization techniques is grounding. Grounding means engaging your senses with the dream environment, anchoring your attention to the sensory details of the dream world. Rather than becoming excited and emotional about the fact that you are lucid, you instead focus your attention on what you are perceiving in the dream. You look at the details of your surroundings. You notice the colors, the textures, the shapes. You listen to the sounds. You feel the sensations. You engage all of your senses with the dream environment. This sensory engagement helps stabilize the dream by keeping your attention focused on the dream world, rather than on the fact that you are dreaming. A specific grounding technique involves looking at your hands in the dream. You raise your hands in front of your face and look at them carefully. You examine the details. You see the lines on your palms, the shape of your fingers, the color of your skin. You might flex your fingers and watch them move. This simple act of examining your hands in detail serves multiple functions. First, it anchors your attention to the dream environment. Second, it often produces remarkable clarity because your brain's visual cortex becomes more engaged with the specific task of processing visual details. Third, it provides a grounding point. Many lucid dreamers find that by looking at their hands when they first become lucid, they can stabilize the lucidity and prevent the dream from fading. Another grounding technique involves touching objects in the dream. You reach out and touch something nearby. You might touch a wall, a table, a tree, or any object in the dream environment. You focus on the sensation of touch. How does it feel? Is it rough or smooth, warm or cold, hard or soft? By engaging your tactile sense, by feeling the texture of dream objects, you anchor your consciousness in the dream environment. You reinforce the sense that the dream world is real and present. This sensory engagement helps stabilize the lucidity. Some lucid dreamers use a technique called spinning to stabilize their dreams. When they first become lucid, if they feel the dream becoming unstable, they might spin their dream body around, as if they are rotating in place. They might spin slowly or quickly. The spinning motion seems to help anchor consciousness in the dream body, to reinforce the sense of having a body within the dream, to stabilize the dream environment. Different people find spinning helpful to different degrees. Some find it extremely effective, others do not find it particularly useful, but many lucid dreamers include spinning as part of their stabilization toolkit. Another technique involves rubbing your dream hands together. You place your hands together and rub them vigorously, feeling the friction and the sensation of your hands rubbing against each other. This tactile stimulation seems to help stabilize the dream by engaging the sensory cortex and anchoring consciousness in the dream body. Similar to spinning, some people find this technique very helpful while others do not. The key is to experiment and discover what works best for you. Sound can also be used as a stabilization tool. Some lucid dreamers find that listening carefully to sounds in the dream, or even creating sounds by vocalizing or singing in the dream, helps stabilize lucidity. By engaging your auditory sense by focusing on sounds, you anchor your consciousness in the sensory experience of the dream. This helps prevent the dream from fading. One important principle for stabilization is to avoid becoming overly excited or emotionally aroused. When you first become lucid, there is often an impulse to get excited, to celebrate the achievement, to immediately try to do something dramatic like flying. But this excitement can destabilize the dream. Instead, it is helpful to remain calm, to maintain a sense of peaceful awareness, to engage gently with the dream environment. Some lucid dreamers find that repeating a calming phrase helps maintain emotional stability. They might silently repeat to themselves, "I am calm, I am stable. The dream is clear and vivid." By repeating this phrase, they help maintain a calm emotional state which supports dream stability. Another stabilization principle is to avoid trying too hard. Paradoxically, if you try too hard to maintain lucidity, if you strain to keep the dream stable, you are more likely to disrupt it. Instead, it is helpful to maintain a relaxed, gentle awareness. You are lucid, but you are not fighting to stay lucid. You are simply maintaining awareness while allowing the dream to unfold naturally. This relaxed approach to maintaining lucidity is more effective than a strained, effortful approach. Some advanced lucid dreamers develop techniques for deepening lucidity, for moving from a light state of lucidity to a deeper, more stable state. One such technique involves increasing your engagement with the dream environment. Rather than simply observing the dream, you actively interact with it. You move through it. You touch things. You look at details carefully. You engage all of your senses. This active engagement seems to deepen lucidity and make it more stable. Another technique for deepening lucidity involves setting intentions while within the lucid dream. Once you have achieved lucidity and stabilized it, you can set an intention for what you want to do or explore. You might say to yourself, "I want to explore this dream landscape. I want to see what is beyond that mountain." By setting a clear intention, you give your mind direction. You focus your conscious attention, and this focus seems to deepen and stabilize the lucidity. It is also helpful to remember that some dream destabilization is normal and expected. Even experienced lucid dreamers sometimes have lucid dreams that fade or become unstable. This is not a failure. It is simply part of the natural process of lucid dreaming. If your lucid dream does become unstable, if you feel yourself waking up, you can simply return to sleep and try again. Each lucid dream, whether it lasts a few seconds or many minutes, is valuable. Each one teaches you something about your mind and your consciousness. Over time, as you practice lucid dreaming consistently, your ability to stabilize lucid dreams will improve. Your brain will become better at maintaining the state of consciousness that supports lucidity. You will develop intuition about what stabilization techniques work best for you, and you will find that lucid dreams become increasingly stable and extended. What began as brief flashes of lucidity can develop into sustained, stable, lucid dreams lasting many minutes or longer. Navigating the dream landscape. Once you have achieved lucidity and stabilized your awareness within the dream, you find yourself in a landscape that is both familiar and strange. The dream environment exists. It has location, dimension, and form. You can move through it, you can observe it, you can interact with it, but it operates according to different rules than the waking world. The landscape responds to your expectations. The environment shifts based on your beliefs and intentions. Moving through a lucid dream is not like moving through a physical landscape where the terrain is fixed and immovable. It is more like moving through a landscape made of intention, where your thoughts shape the environment, where your expectations determine what you encounter. Understanding how to navigate the dream landscape, how to move through it effectively and intentionally, is one of the keys to fully exploring the possibilities of lucid dreaming. The dream landscape is not random. It is not chaotic. It follows certain principles, though these principles are different from the principles that govern physical reality. By understanding these principles, by learning how to work with them rather than against them, you can navigate the dream landscape with increasing skill and control. The first principle is that expectation shapes the dream environment. If you expect to see a particular location, if you hold a clear image of a place in your mind, the dream landscape will tend to manifest that location. This does not happen instantaneously or magically. It happens through the natural processes of your brain generating imagery. Your brain has memories of places you have been. It has the capacity to reconstruct these memories as dream imagery. When you hold a clear intention to visit a particular location, your brain tends to generate imagery corresponding to that location. So if you become lucid and you think, "I want to visit the beach," the dream landscape will tend to shift toward beach scenery. You might find yourself standing on a beach, surrounded by sand and ocean. The second principle is that movement in lucid dreams is often achieved through intention rather than through physical motion. In the waking world, you move by contracting your muscles and propelling your body through space. But in a lucid dream, your body is asleep. It is not moving. Yet your dream body can move. And the way it moves is often through intention. You do not necessarily have to think about the mechanics of walking. You do not have to coordinate your muscles. You simply intend to move, and the dream carries out that intention. You might intend to walk forward and you find yourself walking. You might intend to fly, and you find yourself flying. The dream translates your intention into movement. Some lucid dreamers find that movement is easier if they use a transitional action. Rather than simply intending to be in a new location, they might use an action to transition. They might run toward a door, open it, and step through, expecting to find a new location on the other side. When they step through the door, the dream shifts, and they find themselves in a new location. The action of opening the door and stepping through provides a narrative framework that helps the dream generate the new location. Other lucid dreamers find that spinning works as a transition. They spin around in the dream, and as they spin, the dream landscape changes. When they stop spinning, they find themselves in a new location. Another approach to navigating the dream landscape is to use what might be called dream navigation landmarks. If you have recurring locations in your dreams, places that appear frequently, you can use these as anchors for navigation. You might become lucid in a familiar dream location. From that location, you know how to reach other areas. You might know that if you walk in a particular direction, you will reach another familiar location. By using these familiar locations as landmarks, as reference points, you can navigate through the dream landscape with increasing skill. The principle of expectation also applies to the specific details of the dream landscape. If you expect a location to have certain features, it tends to manifest those features. If you become lucid on a beach and you expect the ocean to be blue, it will tend to be blue. If you expect the sand to be warm, it will feel warm. But if your expectation shifts, the dream landscape can shift as well. This is why maintaining clear intentions and expectations is important for dream navigation. If you become uncertain, if your expectations become confused or contradictory, the dream landscape can become unstable or chaotic. Some lucid dreamers develop techniques for checking their expectations and maintaining clarity about what they want to perceive. They might ask themselves, "What do I expect to see if I turn around?" They might look in a direction and set an expectation for what they will see. Then they turn and observe whether their expectation is met. By consciously working with expectations, by checking them and refining them, they maintain clarity and intentionality in dream navigation. It is important to understand that the dream landscape is not entirely under your conscious control. You cannot force it to manifest something that contradicts your deep beliefs or expectations. If you consciously expect to see something, But your unconscious mind does not believe it is possible. The dream landscape may not manifest what you consciously expect. This is why the most effective dream navigation involves aligning your conscious intentions with your deeper beliefs. It involves cultivating a genuine sense of possibility and openness. When you truly believe that something is possible, when your conscious intention and your deeper beliefs are aligned, the dream landscape manifests what you intend. As you gain experience with dream navigation, you may notice that certain locations become more stable and more detailed. These are locations that you visit frequently in your lucid dreams, places that you have spent time exploring and becoming familiar with. Some advanced lucid dreamers develop what might be called a personal dream landscape, a stable location or set of locations that they visit repeatedly in their lucid dreams. This location becomes increasingly detailed and stable over time. It might be a house, a landscape, a city, or any location that appeals to you. By visiting this location repeatedly, by becoming increasingly familiar with it, you develop a home base for your lucid dreaming explorations. From this home base, you can navigate to other locations, or you can explore the home base location in increasing depth. The principle of intention also applies to encountering other beings in the dream landscape. If you expect to encounter people or creatures in the dream, if you hold an intention to meet someone, you are more likely to encounter dream characters. These dream characters, as we will explore later, are generated by your own brain, but they can feel remarkably real and autonomous. By using intention to direct your encounters, you can meet specific people, explore conversations, or investigate different aspects of your own mind. One important principle for dream navigation is to avoid becoming too attached to a particular expectation or outcome. If you become rigid in your expectations, if you insist that the dream landscape must manifest exactly what you imagine, you may find yourself frustrated. The dream landscape is responsive, but it is also generative. It creates things that may surprise you, that may be different from what you expected, but that may be valuable nonetheless. The most skilled dream navigators maintain clear intentions and expectations, but they also remain flexible and open to surprise. They navigate with intention, but they also allow the dream to surprise and delight them. As your skill at dream navigation increases, you may find that you can navigate with increasing speed and precision. You can move rapidly from location to location. You can manifest specific environments. You can navigate to places you have never been in waking life, but that you can imagine. And through this navigation, you gain familiarity with the vast landscape of your own mind, the infinite possibilities that your brain is capable of generating. Flying and movement. Among all the experiences that lucid dreamers report, one stands above the others in its power and prevalence: flying. The ability to fly, to move through three-dimensional space without the constraints of gravity, to soar above the landscape, to experience the sensation of weightlessness and freedom, is one of the most profound and thrilling experiences available in lucid dreams. Flying is not unique to lucid dreaming. People sometimes dream of flying in ordinary dreams, but in lucid dreams, flying is under your conscious control. You can choose how fast to fly, in what direction, at what altitude, and the sensation is remarkably vivid and real. Many lucid dreamers report that flying in dreams feels more real, more physically authentic than their waking experience of watching birds fly or planes fly. When you are flying in a lucid dream, you are not observing flight. You are experiencing it directly from the inside. The reason flying is so prominent in lucid dreams is partly neurological and partly psychological. Neurologically, during REM sleep, the motor cortex of your brain is active, generating signals as if your body is moving, even though your muscles are paralyzed. In a lucid dream, this motor activity is translated into movement of your dream body. You can move your dream body in any way you can imagine, and one of the most natural and appealing forms of movement is flying. Psychologically, flying represents freedom. It represents transcendence of physical limitations. It represents the ability to move through space in ways that are impossible for the physical body. So it is natural that when people become aware that they are dreaming, one of their first impulses is to try to fly. Learning to fly in a lucid dream is often easier than people expect. You do not need to flap your arms like a bird. You do not need to understand the physics of flight. You simply need to intend to fly, and the dream will carry out that intention. Some lucid dreamers find that the simplest approach is the most effective. They become lucid, they set an intention to fly, and they simply jump into the air with the expectation that they will float or rise. And they do. They find themselves floating, rising, moving through the air. Other lucid dreamers find that it helps to use a transitional action. They might run and then jump, expecting to fly. The running and jumping provide a narrative framework that makes the flight feel more natural and more real. The physical sensation of running and jumping carries over into the dream body. And then, at the moment of jumping, the dream shifts to support flight. Instead of falling back down, they continue upward, floating or flying. Still, other lucid dreamers find that it helps to push off from something. They might stand on a platform or building and then push off with their feet as if diving into water. This pushing motion, this intentional propulsion, seems to help initiate flight. Some find that it helps to imagine wind beneath them, supporting them, holding them aloft. Others find that it helps to imagine themselves becoming lighter, less dense, more buoyant. The sensation of flying in a lucid dream varies from person to person. Some people experience it as floating, a gentle drifting through the air. Others experience it as soaring, a more active and dynamic movement. Some experience it as swimming through air, using arm movements to propel themselves. Others experience it as weightless movement, where they simply move in any direction they intend without any particular physical mechanism. The physical mechanism does not matter. What matters is the intention and the expectation. Whatever mechanism feels most natural to you, whatever expectation you hold, the dream will support that experience. As you become more skilled at flying in lucid dreams, you can explore variations and refinements. You can practice flying at different speeds, from slow and gentle drifting to rapid and exhilarating flight. You can practice flying at different altitudes, from just above the ground to high in the sky. You can practice flying through different environments, from familiar landscapes to fantastical locations. You can practice flying in different styles, from graceful and elegant to wild and acrobatic. Some lucid dreamers find that they can control their altitude by adjusting their expectation or intention. If they expect to rise, they rise. If they expect to descend, they descend. Others find that they can control their direction and speed through intention. They think about where they want to go, and they find themselves flying in that direction at that speed. Still others find that they can control their flight through physical movements of their dream body. They might bank and turn by leaning their body, by shifting their weight, by adjusting their arm position. Flying in lucid dreams often produces profound emotional experiences. Many lucid dreamers report that flying is one of the most joyful, most liberating, most exhilarating experiences available. There is something about the direct experience of flying, of moving through space with freedom and control, that produces deep feelings of joy and freedom. These feelings often persist after waking. People often report that the memory of flying in a lucid dream, the feeling of that freedom and exhilaration, remains vivid and meaningful long after the dream has ended. Beyond flying, lucid dreams also allow exploration of other forms of movement and physical experience. Some lucid dreamers practice superhuman physical abilities. They might practice running at superhuman speeds, jumping to great heights, or performing acrobatic feats. They might practice shape-shifting, transforming their dream body into different forms. They might practice moving through solid objects, walking through walls, or swimming through earth as if it were water. The principle that governs all of these experiences is the same. Intention and expectation shape the dream experience. If you expect to be able to run at superhuman speeds, if you hold that intention, your dream body will run at superhuman speeds. If you expect to be able to jump to great heights, you will jump to great heights. If you expect to be able to walk through walls, the walls will be permeable to your dream body. The dream responds to your expectations and intentions. This principle has interesting implications for understanding the nature of physical reality. In the waking world, physical laws are fixed and immutable. You cannot walk through walls, no matter how much you intend to. You cannot fly without external support. You cannot run at superhuman speeds. These limitations are features of physical reality, but in the dream, these limitations do not apply. The dream responds to your expectations and intentions rather than to fixed physical laws. This suggests that what we call physical reality is not absolutely fixed, but is shaped by our expectations and beliefs. The difference is that in the waking world, our expectations and beliefs are constrained by consensus reality, by the agreements we have about how the world works. But in the dream, there are no such constraints. Your expectations and beliefs directly shape your experience. As you gain experience with movement and flight in lucid dreams, you develop an intuitive understanding of how consciousness relates to experience. You discover that movement is not something that requires a physical body in motion. Movement is something that consciousness experiences. Your consciousness can experience movement in a dream without your physical body moving at all. This insight, gained through direct experience, can shift your understanding of consciousness and physicality in profound ways. Meeting your subconscious. Within the landscape of your lucid dreams, you will encounter beings. These beings might take the form of people you know from your waking life. They might take the form of strangers. They might take the form of fantastic creatures or abstract entities. These beings feel real. They seem to have their own thoughts, their own intentions, their own autonomy. They can surprise you. They can communicate with you. They can challenge you. They can guide you, and yet they are not external beings. They are not separate entities. They are generated by your own brain. They are expressions of different aspects of your own mind, different facets of your own consciousness. Meeting and communicating with these dream characters is one of the most profound aspects of lucid dreaming, because through these meetings you are meeting different aspects of yourself. The psychologist Carl Jung called these dream characters complexes, autonomous aspects of the psyche that have their own character and their own will. Jung believed that the unconscious mind expresses itself through dream characters, and that by communicating with these characters, you can access the wisdom and the knowledge that resides in your unconscious mind. Modern neuroscience has refined our understanding of why dream characters seem autonomous. Your brain generates them. Your brain creates their appearance, their words, their actions, but the part of your brain that generates them is not the same part of your brain that is consciously aware in the lucid dream. So, from the perspective of your conscious awareness, the dream characters do seem to have their own autonomy. They are expressions of your unconscious mind, experienced by your conscious mind. In a lucid dream, you can deliberately seek out dream characters and communicate with them. You can ask them questions. You can ask them to reveal information, to share wisdom, to help you understand yourself. And remarkably, they often do. They provide insights, perspectives, and information that you did not consciously know that you possessed. This happens because your unconscious mind contains vast amounts of information, memories, patterns, and wisdom that are not accessible to your conscious awareness. By communicating with dream characters, by asking them questions, you are accessing this unconscious knowledge. Some lucid dreamers develop techniques for summoning specific dream characters. They might set an intention to meet a particular person or a particular type of person. They might ask for guidance, for wisdom, for assistance with a particular problem. And they find that dream characters appear who seem to fulfill that request. A lucid dreamer might become lucid and think, I want to meet someone who can help me understand my creative blocks. And in the dream, a character might appear who offers insights about creativity, or a lucid dreamer might think, I want to meet my inner healer, the part of me that knows how to heal and restore myself. And a character might appear who represents health and wholeness. The way you interact with dream characters in lucid dreams can be remarkably direct and intimate. You can have conversations with them. You can ask them specific questions and listen to their responses. You can ask them to show you things, to take you places, to reveal information. Some lucid dreamers report that these conversations feel more real, more authentic, more profound than many of their waking conversations. There is a quality of honesty and directness in lucid dream conversations that is sometimes missing from waking conversations. The dream character is not bound by the social conventions and defenses that people use in waking life. It expresses itself directly, without filters. One interesting phenomenon that many lucid dreamers report is that dream characters sometimes seem to know things that the lucid dreamer does not consciously know. A lucid dreamer might ask a dream character a question, and the character provides an answer that is surprising, that reveals information or insight that the lucid dreamer did not consciously possess. Yet upon reflection, the information often turns out to be accurate. The lucid dreamer had the information in their unconscious mind, but it was not accessible to conscious awareness. The dream character, generated by the unconscious mind, had access to this information and could express it. This raises interesting questions about the nature of knowledge and consciousness. How does the unconscious mind know things that the conscious mind does not know? The answer is that the unconscious mind is constantly processing information. It is perceiving things that conscious awareness misses. It is making connections that conscious reasoning does not make. It is storing memories and experiences that conscious awareness has forgotten. The unconscious mind is in many ways more intelligent and more perceptive than conscious awareness. It simply processes information differently. By communicating with dream characters, by accessing the wisdom of the unconscious mind, you gain access to a deeper form of intelligence. Some lucid dreamers develop relationships with particular dream characters. They might encounter the same character repeatedly in their lucid dreams. They might give this character a name. They might develop an ongoing dialogue with this character. Over time, this character becomes more familiar, more detailed, more real. Some lucid dreamers report that these dream characters seem to have consistent personalities, consistent perspectives, and consistent ways of communicating across multiple lucid dreams. This consistency is remarkable because each time you encounter the character, your brain is generating them anew, yet the character emerges with similar characteristics each time. Another interesting aspect of meeting dream characters is that you can learn from their perspectives. A dream character might represent a different aspect of your personality, a different way of thinking about the world, a different set of values or beliefs. By communicating with this character, by understanding their perspective, you gain access to a different way of thinking. You expand your consciousness to include perspectives that your conscious mind might not naturally hold. This can be profoundly transformative. It can help you become more flexible, more creative, more whole. Some lucid dreamers practice what might be called internal dialogue. They become lucid. They identify an internal conflict or a question they are struggling with, and they create two dream characters to represent different sides of the issue. They then facilitate a conversation between these characters, allowing each side to express itself fully. Through this internal dialogue, carried out with dream characters, many lucid dreamers report gaining clarity on issues they were struggling with. The dialogue allows each perspective to be fully expressed and heard, and often leads to integration and resolution. It is important to approach dream characters with respect and openness. These characters are expressions of your own mind, but they are expressions of the parts of your mind that are not under your conscious control. They have wisdom and knowledge that your conscious mind does not have. By approaching them with respect, by listening to them, by being open to what they have to teach, you maximize the benefit of communicating with them. Some lucid dreamers also report encountering dream characters that seem to represent spiritual guides, teachers, or higher aspects of consciousness. These characters might have a quality of wisdom, compassion, or power that seems to transcend the personal. While these characters are still generated by your own brain, they can represent connection to something larger than your individual conscious self. Some people interpret these characters as connection to higher consciousness or spiritual dimensions. Others interpret them as expressions of the deepest, wisest parts of your own mind. Either way, these encounters can be profoundly meaningful and transformative. Creative exploration and play. One of the greatest gifts of lucid dreaming is freedom. Freedom from the constraints of physical reality. Freedom from the limitations of your waking life. Freedom to explore, to create, to play, to experiment without consequences. In a lucid dream, you can do anything. You can go anywhere. You can become anyone. You can create anything. And this freedom creates extraordinary opportunities for creative exploration, for artistic inspiration, for problem solving, for pure play and enjoyment. Many artists, musicians, writers, and creators of all kinds have used lucid dreaming as a source of inspiration and creativity. Salvador Dali, the surrealist painter, deliberately cultivated lucid dreams as part of his creative practice. He would lie down for brief naps holding a metal object in his hand. As he approached sleep, the metal would fall from his hand, the sound waking him just as he was entering a lucid dream state. He would then paint the images he had seen in the lucid dream. Many of his most famous surrealist works were inspired by lucid dream imagery. Musicians have reported using lucid dreams to explore new compositions, to hear music that they later translated into waking compositions. Writers have used lucid dreams to explore narrative possibilities, to develop characters, to solve plot problems. The reason lucid dreaming is such a powerful tool for creativity is that it provides direct access to the generative capacity of your mind. In the lucid dream, your brain is creating imagery, generating scenarios, producing narratives. This is the same capacity that your brain uses to create art, music, literature, and other creative works in your waking life. But in the lucid dream, you have direct access to this generative capacity. You can observe it in action, you can direct it, you can collaborate with it. Some lucid dreamers use lucid dreams for artistic inspiration by simply exploring the dream landscape, observing the imagery that their brain generates, and later recreating what they saw in waking artistic media. A visual artist might become lucid, spend time exploring the dream landscape, observing the colors, the forms, the compositions. Later, after waking, they might paint or draw what they remember seeing. The dream has provided the inspiration, the raw material, the creative spark. Other lucid dreamers use lucid dreams for more direct creative work. A musician might become lucid and decide to compose music in the dream. They might imagine an orchestra and imagine music being played. They might experiment with different melodies, different harmonies, different arrangements. Upon waking, they might recall the music and transcribe it into waking notation. Some musicians report that the music they compose in lucid dreams is often more creative, more original, more emotionally powerful than the music they compose while awake. This is because in the lucid dream, the unconscious mind is directly generating the music without the constraints of conscious judgment or learned techniques. Writers use lucid dreams similarly. A writer might become lucid and decide to explore a narrative problem they are working on. They might imagine different plot possibilities, different character interactions, different scenes. They might ask dream characters to suggest solutions to creative problems. They might explore the emotional tone of a piece, the voice of a narrator, the perspective of a character. Upon waking, they might recall these explorations and use them to inform their waking writing. Beyond direct artistic creation, lucid dreaming is also valuable for creative problem solving. Many people have reported using lucid dreams to solve problems they were struggling with. A scientist might become lucid and focus on a scientific problem they are trying to solve. They might visualize the problem, explore different solutions, test ideas. Upon waking, they might have insights or solutions that they did not consciously have before. This happens because the unconscious mind, freed from the constraints of conscious reasoning, can make connections and generate possibilities that conscious reasoning might not generate. Lucid dreaming is also a tool for personal exploration and self-discovery. In a lucid dream, you can explore different aspects of your personality. You can try on different identities, different ways of being, different perspectives. You can explore your fears in a safe environment. You can practice social situations that make you anxious. You can explore your desires and your values. This exploration can lead to greater self-understanding and personal growth. Some lucid dreamers use lucid dreams for skill practice. Research has shown that practicing skills in lucid dreams can actually improve performance of those skills in waking life. An athlete might become lucid and practice their sport in the dream. They might practice a specific movement, a specific technique, a specific play. The motor cortex of their brain is activated while they practice. The neural pathways associated with the skill are strengthened. Upon waking, their actual performance of the skill improves. This is because the brain does not distinguish between actually performing a skill and vividly imagining performing a skill. Both activate the motor cortex and strengthen the neural pathways. Musicians have used lucid dreaming to practice their instruments. They become lucid, they imagine their instrument, and they practice playing. Upon waking, their actual playing often improves. Public speakers have used lucid dreaming to practice presentations. Athletes have used lucid dreaming to practice their sports. The applications are endless. Any skill that can be imagined and practiced in the lucid dream can be improved through this practice. Lucid dreaming is also simply a space for play, for joy, for exploration, without purpose or goal. You can become lucid and simply enjoy the experience of being in the dream. You can play games with dream characters. You can explore beautiful landscapes. You can experiment with your dream body, with your abilities, with the dream environment. You can do things that are impossible in waking life, simply for the joy and the exhilaration of the experience. You can fly. You can shapeshift. You can create fantastical environments. You can experience sensations that are not available in waking life. This quality of play, of joy, of purposeless exploration is valuable in itself. It brings pleasure. It brings a sense of freedom and possibility. It reminds you of the vast potential of your own mind. It expands your sense of what is possible. And this expansion often carries over into your waking life. As you experience greater freedom and possibility in your lucid dreams, you often find yourself becoming more creative, more playful, more open to possibility in your waking life as well. Some lucid dreamers develop what might be called a personal dream project. They decide to use their lucid dreams for a specific purpose over an extended period of time. They might decide to explore a particular location in their lucid dreams over many nights, gradually becoming more familiar with it, more able to navigate it, discovering new areas. They might decide to work on a specific creative project, using multiple lucid dreams to develop and refine it. They might decide to practice a skill intensively through lucid dreaming. By committing to a project, by returning to it repeatedly across multiple lucid dreams, they can accomplish remarkable things. The freedom available in lucid dreaming, the opportunity to create and explore without the constraints of physical reality, as one of the most transformative aspects of lucid dreaming. It opens doors to creativity, to self-discovery, to joy, to possibility. And through this creative exploration and play, you discover depths of your own mind and consciousness that you never knew existed. The deeper mysteries. As you progress in your practice of lucid dreaming, as you spend more time exploring the dream landscape and communicating with dream characters, you begin to encounter questions that are not merely technical or practical, but philosophical and existential. These are questions about the nature of consciousness itself, about the nature of reality, about what is real and what is illusion, about the relationship between mind and matter. These are the deeper mysteries that lucid dreaming opens up. One of the first mysteries is the question of what consciousness actually is. In your lucid dreams, you are conscious, you are aware, you are experiencing, you are thinking and observing. Yet your physical brain is asleep. Your body is not moving. Your sensory organs are not receiving external input, and yet consciousness is present. This raises a fundamental question. What is consciousness? Is it a product of the physical brain? Is it something more? If consciousness can exist during sleep, without external sensory input, without the brain receiving signals from the body or the external world, what does that tell us about the nature of consciousness? These are not merely philosophical questions. They are questions that have implications for how we understand ourselves and our reality. For centuries, Western science has operated on the assumption that consciousness is a product of the brain, that it emerges from the physical processes of neurons firing and synapses connecting. And this view has been productive. It has led to many advances in neuroscience and psychology, but lucid dreaming suggests that the relationship between consciousness and the physical brain is more complex and more mysterious than this simple materialist view suggests. Another mystery that lucid dreaming opens up is the question of the nature of reality. In your waking life, you assume that the world around you is objective reality, that it exists independently of your perception, that other people and objects have an existence that is separate from your mind. But in a lucid dream, you encounter a reality that is entirely generated by your mind. The dream landscape is real. It has sensory detail. It has dimension and structure. But it exists only in your mind. It exists only as a product of your brain's activity. And yet, while you are in the dream, it feels completely real. You cannot distinguish it from waking reality based on the quality of the experience itself. This raises a profound question. How much of what you perceive as objective reality in waking life is actually a construction of your mind? How much of what you experience as external reality is actually generated by your brain, similar to the way your brain generates the dream landscape? Neuroscience has shown that perception is not passive. Your brain does not simply receive input from the external world and process it. Your brain actively constructs your experience. It uses sensory input, but it also uses memory, expectation, and belief to construct the reality that you perceive. In some sense, your waking perception of reality is similar to your dream perception. Both are constructions of your mind. This does not mean that objective reality does not exist. It does not mean that the external world is an illusion, but it does suggest that the boundary between what is real and what is illusion, between what is objective and what is subjective, is less clear than we typically assume. Your experience of reality, whether in waking or dreaming, is always mediated by your mind. You never directly perceive objective reality. You perceive your mind's construction of reality. Another mystery that lucid dreaming opens up is the question of personal identity. In a lucid dream, you have a body, a perspective, a sense of self. But this body is not your physical body. This perspective is not a perspective that your physical body has. This sense of self is not anchored to your physical self, and yet it feels like you. It is experienced as you. It is a sense of self that is continuous with your waking sense of self. This raises the question, what is the self? Is it your physical body? Is it your brain? Is it something more abstract, something that can exist independently of the physical body? Different philosophical traditions have different answers to these questions. Some traditions argue that the self is an illusion, that what we call the self is actually a construction of the mind, a convenient fiction that allows us to navigate the world, but that has no fundamental reality. Other traditions argue that the self is more fundamental than the physical body, that consciousness is primary and the physical world is secondary. Still others argue that the self and the physical body are two aspects of a unified reality that is neither purely material nor purely mental. Lucid dreaming does not provide definitive answers to these philosophical questions, but it provides direct experience that is relevant to these questions. It shows that consciousness can exist independently of sensory input from the physical world. It shows that the mind can generate experiences that are indistinguishable from waking reality. It shows that a sense of self can exist without a physical body present. These direct experiences are data points that any adequate theory of consciousness and reality must account for. Some lucid dreamers report experiences that seem to point to even deeper mysteries. Some report experiencing what they describe as shared dreams, dreams in which they encounter other people and later discover that those people had a dream of the same encounter at the same time. Some report experiencing dreams that seem to contain information they could not have known, information about events that later occur, or information about people or places they have never consciously encountered. Some report experiences of what they describe as meeting guides or beings that seem to have an existence independent of their own mind, that seem to be separate entities rather than aspects of themselves. These experiences are rare and difficult to verify. They are often dismissed by skeptics as coincidence, false memory, or imagination, and it is true that many such reports can be explained by psychological processes that are well understood. But the sheer number of such reports, the consistency of the descriptions across cultures and time periods, the fact that some lucid dreamers report these experiences repeatedly and consistently, suggests that these experiences are not simply delusions or imagination. They are genuine experiences that deserve to be taken seriously, even if we do not yet understand them. One possibility is that lucid dreaming opens access to dimensions of consciousness or reality that are not accessible to ordinary waking consciousness. Another possibility is that lucid dreaming reveals aspects of consciousness that are more interconnected, more unified, more non-local than we typically assume. The physicist David Bohm proposed a model of reality in which the universe is fundamentally unified, with apparent separations being illusions created by our limited perception. If such a model is correct, then lucid dreaming might provide access to this deeper level of unity. You might be able to access information or consciousness that is not contained within your individual mind, but is part of a larger unified field of consciousness. These are speculative ideas. They are not proven, but they are ideas that emerge naturally from the direct experiences of lucid dreamers. And they suggest that lucid dreaming is not just a technique for achieving particular experiences or solving practical problems. It is a gateway to deeper questions about the nature of consciousness and reality. It is a tool for exploring the frontiers of human experience and understanding. Challenges and patience. The path to consistent lucid dreaming is not always smooth. While some people achieve lucidity quickly, others find that it takes weeks or months or longer of consistent practice before they have their first lucid dream. And even after achieving lucidity, many lucid dreamers encounter challenges. Dreams destabilize. Lucidity becomes difficult to maintain. Lucid dreams become less frequent. These challenges are normal and expected. They are part of the journey. Understanding these challenges, understanding how to work with them, is essential for developing a consistent and sustainable practice of lucid dreaming. One of the most common challenges that lucid dreamers encounter is the false awakening. You become lucid in a dream. You realize that you are dreaming, but then you seem to wake up. You seem to return to your waking life. You are in your bed, in your room. Everything seems normal, but you are actually still dreaming. You have simply transitioned from one dream to another. You have a false awakening. Some lucid dreamers experience multiple false awakenings in succession, waking from one dream into another dream, until finally they wake into actual waking reality. False awakenings can be disorienting and frustrating, but they can also be turned into an opportunity. If you recognize that you are in a false awakening, you can reality test, discover that you are still dreaming, and maintain lucidity. By practicing reality checks consistently, by maintaining the habit of questioning reality even in what seems like waking life, you can often catch false awakenings and maintain lucidity. Another common challenge is maintaining lucidity consistently. You might have a lucid dream one night and then not have another lucid dream for weeks. You might develop a practice, experience success, and then find that the success does not continue. Lucidity seems to be inconsistent, unpredictable. This inconsistency can be frustrating. It can lead to doubt about whether the technique works, whether you are capable of achieving lucidity consistently. The reason for this inconsistency is that lucid dreaming depends on many factors. It depends on your sleep quality. It depends on your stress levels. It depends on how frequently you are reality checking. It depends on how clearly you are setting your intention. It depends on factors that are outside your conscious control, like your dream's content and your brain state during REM sleep. This means that consistency in lucid dreaming practice requires patience and persistence. You cannot force lucidity. You can only create the conditions that make lucidity more likely. And then you must be patient as your mind gradually develops the capacity for lucidity. Some lucid dreamers find that their lucidity is inconsistent because they are not maintaining consistent practice. They might practice intensively for a few days, then stop. Then, after a few weeks with no lucid dreams, they practice intensively again. This on and off practice pattern makes consistency difficult. More consistent results come from steady, regular practice. Even if you can only spend a few minutes each day on your practice, consistency is more important than intensity. A few minutes of consistent daily practice is more effective than hours of practice followed by weeks of no practice. Another challenge is managing frustration and maintaining motivation. If you practice for weeks without achieving lucidity, it is easy to become discouraged. It is easy to doubt whether lucid dreaming is real or whether you are capable of achieving it. The motivation that drove your initial practice can fade. The practice can begin to feel like a chore rather than a joy. To maintain motivation, It helps to remember that lucid dreaming is a skill, like learning a language or learning a musical instrument. It takes time to develop. Different people develop at different rates. The fact that you have not achieved lucidity yet does not mean that you will not achieve it. It simply means that you have not yet achieved it. One way to maintain motivation is to celebrate small victories. You might not have achieved a full lucid dream, but you might have experienced a moment of increased clarity in a dream. You might have successfully performed a reality check in a dream. You might have remembered your dreams more vividly. These small victories are progress. They are signs that your practice is working, that your mind is responding to your efforts. By acknowledging these small victories, you maintain motivation and momentum. Another challenge is dealing with sleep deprivation. Some lucid dreaming techniques, particularly the wild technique and some variations of mild that involve waking in the middle of the night, require you to interrupt your sleep or to go to sleep with reduced sleep pressure. This can lead to reduced overall sleep quality or sleep deprivation if not managed carefully. Sleep deprivation can actually make lucid dreaming more difficult because it can disrupt your sleep architecture and reduce the quality of your REM sleep. The best approach is to practice lucid dreaming in ways that do not significantly disrupt your overall sleep quality. This means avoiding techniques that require significant sleep disruption or using them only occasionally, not every night. Some lucid dreamers also encounter challenges with control. They achieve lucidity, but they cannot control the dream the way they want to. They want to fly, but they cannot get off the ground. They want to see a particular person, but that person does not appear. The dream landscape does not respond to their intentions the way they expect. This happens because the dream is generated by your unconscious mind, and your conscious intentions do not have absolute control over the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind has its own agenda, its own patterns, its own way of operating. The dream is a collaboration between conscious intention and unconscious generation. You cannot simply command the dream to do what you want. You must work with the dream, aligning your conscious intention with the patterns and possibilities that your unconscious mind generates. Another challenge that some people encounter is fear or discomfort with lucid dreams. Some people find lucid dreams unsettling or disturbing. They find the experience of realizing that reality is not what they thought it was to be disorienting. They find the experience of being in a place that is both real and unreal to be uncomfortable. They find the experience of encountering dream characters that seem autonomous to be unsettling. These reactions are understandable. Lucid dreaming can challenge your assumptions about reality and consciousness. If you experience discomfort or fear, it is helpful to approach it gently. You do not have to push yourself to achieve lucidity if it is uncomfortable. You can explore lucid dreaming at your own pace in ways that feel safe and comfortable to you. Patience is perhaps the most important attitude for successful lucid dreaming practice. Patience with your progress, recognizing that development takes time. Patience with your mind, accepting that you cannot control your dreams absolutely. Patience with the process, trusting that consistent practice will eventually lead to results. Patience with yourself, being kind and compassionate with yourself when you encounter challenges or setbacks. Lucid dreaming is not a race. There is no deadline. The journey itself is valuable, regardless of how quickly you achieve results. By approaching your practice with patience, with gentle persistence, with a spirit of exploration and curiosity, you create the conditions for genuine progress. Many experienced lucid dreamers report that their breakthroughs came not from intense effort, but from a combination of consistent practice and letting go of attachment to results. They practiced regularly. They set their intention. They did the work. But they also released their attachment to achieving lucidity on any particular night. They accepted that lucidity might come or might not come. And paradoxically, this release of attachment often led to more consistent lucidity. The relaxation that comes from not desperately needing to achieve results actually creates better conditions for lucidity than the tension that comes from striving. Your nocturnal awakening. We have journeyed together through the landscape of lucid dreaming. We have explored the architecture of sleep, the neuroscience of consciousness during dreams, the practical techniques for achieving lucidity, the methods for stabilizing and navigating lucid dreams, the possibilities for creative exploration, and personal growth. We have encountered the deeper mysteries that lucid dreaming reveals about consciousness and reality. And now, as we approach the end of this exploration, it is time to reflect on what this journey means, to integrate what we have learned, and to consider how lucid dreaming can transform your relationship with sleep, with consciousness, and with yourself. Lucid dreaming is not merely a technique or a skill to be mastered. It is a gateway to a deeper relationship with your own mind. It is an invitation to explore the vast landscape of consciousness that exists within you. Every night, when you close your eyes to sleep, you are embarking on a journey into this landscape. For most people, this journey is unconscious. You move through the landscape of dreams without awareness. But now you know that this journey can be conscious. You can become aware, you can explore, you can create, you can discover. The transformation that occurs when you begin to practice lucid dreaming is gradual but profound. At first, you might simply be more aware of your dreams. You might remember them more vividly. You might notice patterns and recurring elements. You might become more curious about your dreams, more interested in exploring them. This increased awareness of dreams is valuable in itself. It deepens your relationship with this significant part of your life. You are no longer ignoring 1/3 of your life, the part spent sleeping. You are bringing consciousness to it. Then, as you continue your practice, you might begin to experience moments of lucidity. Your first lucid dream might be brief, just a moment of awareness before the dream destabilizes and you wake. But this moment is profound. You have tasted the experience of being conscious within a dream. You have felt what it is like to realize that you are dreaming while the dream continues. You have experienced the possibility. And once you have experienced it once, you know that it is possible. This knowledge, this direct experience changes you. It opens possibilities that were previously closed. As you continue to practice, as you refine your techniques and deepen your understanding, lucid dreams might become more frequent, more stable, more under your conscious control. You might begin to use lucid dreams for creative exploration, for problem solving, for personal growth, for pure enjoyment. The lucid dream becomes a space where you can do things that are impossible in waking life. You can fly, you can create, you can explore, you can discover. This freedom, this sense of possibility, often extends into your waking life. You become more creative, more flexible, more open to possibility. The boundaries of what you believe is possible begin to expand. Beyond the practical benefits of lucid dreaming, beyond the skills you develop and the experiences you have, there is a deeper transformation that occurs. As you engage in lucid dreaming, as you explore your own mind in this way, you develop a different relationship with consciousness itself. You begin to understand at a deep level that consciousness is not simply a byproduct of your brain. Consciousness is something more fundamental. It is the ground of your experience. It is the light by which all experience is illuminated. And lucid dreaming reveals this. In a lucid dream, you are conscious without external input. You are conscious without the sensory apparatus that usually anchors consciousness to external reality. And yet, consciousness is present. This direct experience of consciousness, independent of external reality, is transformative. You also begin to understand through lucid dreaming that the boundaries between self and world, between internal and external, between imagination and reality, are less fixed than you assumed. In a lucid dream, the world is entirely internal, entirely generated by your own mind, yet it is experienced as external, as real, as having an existence independent of your awareness. This suggests that the distinction between internal and external, between imagination and reality, is not as absolute as we typically assume. What we call reality is, in some sense, always a construction of consciousness. What we call imagination is, in some sense, always generating real experiences. Through lucid dreaming, you also develop a relationship with the parts of your mind that are not under your conscious control. You develop the capacity to communicate with your unconscious mind, to access the wisdom and knowledge that resides there. You develop the capacity to work with your unconscious mind, to align your conscious intentions with your unconscious patterns. This integration of conscious and unconscious, this dialogue between different aspects of your mind, is profoundly healing and transformative. It allows you to become more whole, more integrated, more fully yourself. As you continue your practice of lucid dreaming, remember that every person's journey is unique. The techniques that work best for you might be different from the techniques that work best for others. The frequency of your lucid dreams might be different from someone else's. The experiences you have in your lucid dreams might be completely different from what others report. And all of this is fine. Your journey is your own. What matters is not comparing yourself to others, not measuring yourself against external standards, but engaging authentically with your own practice, with your own mind, with your own consciousness. Remember also that lucid dreaming is not a destination to be reached, after which you are done. It is an ongoing practice, an ongoing journey, an ongoing exploration. There is no final level of mastery, after which there is nothing more to learn or explore. The landscape of consciousness is infinite. The possibilities are endless. There is always more to discover, always deeper levels to explore, always new experiences to have. I want to know, where are you in your journey? Have you experienced a lucid dream? Are you just beginning to explore these techniques? Are you continuing a practice you have already started? Whatever your situation, I invite you to continue. I invite you to persist gently and patiently with your practice. I invite you to approach your dreams with curiosity and openness. I invite you to explore the vast landscape of consciousness that exists within you. If this exploration has resonated with you, if this journey into lucid dreaming has sparked something within you, I would appreciate a like and a subscription to Relaxing Science. Your support helps us continue creating content like this, helping more people explore the mysteries of consciousness and the depths of the mind. And please share your experiences in the comments. Have you had lucid dreams? What was your experience? What have you learned? Your stories, your insights, your experiences are valuable. They inspire others, and they deepen our collective understanding of what is possible. The night is waiting for you. Every time you close your eyes to sleep, you are entering a realm of infinite possibility. You are embarking on a journey into the landscape of your own consciousness. And now you know that this journey can be conscious. You can become aware, you can explore, you can create, you can discover. The nocturnal awakening that is lucid dreaming is available to you. It requires practice, it requires patience, it requires persistence, but it is available. And the rewards, the insights, the experiences, the growth that come from this practice are profound and boundless. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the world of lucid dreaming. Thank you for your time, your attention, your openness to these ideas. Thank you for your willingness to explore the depths of your own consciousness. I hope that this exploration has awakened something within you, has sparked a curiosity, has opened possibilities that were previously closed. I hope that you will continue this practice, that you will engage with your dreams, that you will discover the extraordinary potential of your own mind. And I hope that when you experience your first lucid dream, when you become aware within the dream, when you taste the freedom and the possibility that lucid dreaming offers, you will remember this journey we have taken together, and you will know that you have stepped into a realm of infinite wonder and infinite possibility. May your nights be filled with awareness. May your dreams be vivid and clear. May your consciousness expand beyond the boundaries you have known. And may the journey into lucid dreaming lead you to deeper understanding of yourself, of consciousness, and of the mysterious nature of reality itself. Sleep well and dream lucidly. Total.